Hi everybody, Brian from Bear Bull Traders here. It's Wednesday, March 16th, and this is the midweek video where we'll take a look at how things have traded so far this week and what we can expect going forward the last 2 days of the week. And what a day it was today. Up and down and right back up again. Went out close to or at highs of the day on most of the indexes after we had the Fed come out with their much anticipated rate hike, which of course was 0.25%. Don't think there was a whole lot of surprise there, and they probably came out a little bit hawkish, talking about at least or probably 6 more rate hikes, and that initially sent the market down, but then it came right back up again. So let's take a look at what happened today. There were some other interesting things that happened with China as well, the Chinese stocks. So let's get down and look at the indexes. Okay, so let's start out just taking a look at what we got to look forward to here in the coming 2 days, remainder of the week. We've got initial jobless claims, usual ones on Thursday. No other real big economic events coming. We do have some earnings reports. FedEx will definitely be one we'll be watching. That's the transport stock and good gauge of economic activity with the truckers. And of course, we've got Dollar General had a Bitcoin trade or a crypto trade. GME always entertaining, and Friday really not much. ON is only one that I really saw of interest. But what have we seen so far this week? We did get retail numbers this morning, and they were a little bit weaker than expected. Maybe some demand destruction from some of the higher prices that we're seeing pretty much across the economy. And of course, we did get the Fed minutes and Powell comments at 0.25 hike and probably 6 more. He projected 6 more to come, but data driven, of course, always leaving open on the table that they could change their mind. And of course, volatility with the strength that we closed today. Volatility did drop. The VIX did drop in the market today. We are well off the highs, but it is still elevated. So, and probably will continue as long as this tragic war goes on in the Ukraine. And we've got the specter of where we might be going with inflation and future interest rate hikes. Let's get down and look at some charts, but before we do that, I always like to throw in a quick ad for my book on Amazon, How to Swing Trade, Rules, Routines, and Strategies, swing trader that I use. So let's take a look at some of the indexes here. Start out with the 2-year. You can see here we had this big pop up today, 1.95. I think we went out at somewhere around that range. What a monstrous curve, and what a great example of a cup and handle. You can see here coming back up. On the 10-year, had a big bounce up here today, closing out around 2.19. So again, breaking cleanly through that 2% level. So interest rates definitely continuing to move up here, not surprising. Let's take a look at the transports. Huge day today on the transports. Big move up today. Yeah, and so we'll be watching FedEx fairly closely here. You can see we're back up to an area where we could be expecting some resistance. Prior resistance here and here, sort of support here until we broke down. So this 16,500, but really big day on the transports. And again here on the week, up big on the week, just primarily due to today's move. Pretty much a lot of these charts are going to look the same here. We had this big move up on Tuesday, and then we have follow through day today. But you can see the range here we had on this index, and it's probably going to look very much the same because we had quite a move intraday here today with the Fed announcement. And we warned people in the room, the trading room, day trading room, not to get too tied to the initial move after the announcement on interest rates, because quite often that initial move is wrong, and that proved to be the case in spades today. The weekly, again, just holding this area where we'd expect to have some support. The Qs, sort of again the same sort of pattern that we're going to see in all these indexes here. You can kind of see a double bottom here. But it's looks like we've definitely established a low at 320 on the Qs. can see stochastics, RSI, momentum all continuing to the upside, so probably will continue to move higher through the rest of the week. Definitely looking at holding those support levels. The SPY, same comment, sort of double bottom, higher low, definitely a double bottom here, and nice move back up. We are going to get into a range here where we might be finding some resistance, but it's definitely, we've put in a sort of a low, barring any unforeseen negative circumstances that might affect that. And of course the IWM, you can see I've mentioned here a number of times, we're kind of trading in a range just like we did through 2021. And this 205 level, probably an area that should be watched for resistance. But again, we're kind of firmly back above sort of this midpoint of this trading range here. And the VIX, as I mentioned here earlier, we did get a bit of a sell-off today. It is still elevated from levels down here, but again, VIX pulling back, and I suspect that we may see some further pullback on the VIX as we go into the latter part of the week. The dollar really off today. Again, probably related to Fed announcement and the tightening, and people selling the dollar. And Bitcoin does seem to be holding this 38,000 level nicely. We seem to be, again, sort of stuck in a trading range, sort of this 42,000 level now resistance, 38,000 support. So again, it's just sort of trading in a range. It has sort of held this level. So for the Bitcoin holders, crypto holders, it's probably at least some solace that it does seem to be holding in a bit of a range there. Let's take a look at some stocks that have really squeezed. We had some really interesting things going on today. Let's start out with gold. You can see here gold. This is the kind of move that you know and have to anticipate a pullback at some point. Nothing moves like this forever, and of course now we've had this really significant pullback. I'm guessing this looks like about a 50% retracement from the top to the bottom here, and somewhere in here is 1800 to 2100, so 1950 would have been sort of midpoint. But again, we seem to be coming into an area on gold where maybe we're going to find some support here. Momentum indicators are all saying it's still going down. The one thing I found interesting, and we'll get to that in a second, is that the miners seem to be holding up much better than the actual price of gold. So here's what we're talking about today with the Chinese stocks. Unbelievable move today. China sort of stepping in, making some supportive comments for their economy, making some supportive moves there, and also some supportive statements for some of the interlisted stocks. And of course, they just got this monster squeeze rally. And as we've said before, some of the biggest monster moves higher can be in the middle of a bear market, and in this case, this has just been a, cattle to the slaughter. I don't know how you'd want to say that, but it's just been. You can see here just the BABA stock alone here, how it's just been annihilated, even from this 180 level that was back in late 2021, and I think it was over 320 at one point, sort of mid-year last year. So just getting slaughtered, and now we had this monster squeeze higher. So I would be watching this fairly closely. I think this 110 level, sort of right in this area here, is going to be probably some significant resistance. This kind of move is not sustainable, so I still think that there's still some overlying concerns. I don't think all the concerns went away today just because of those statements. I think it was just impetus for a lot of short covering and real squeeze higher there as the shorts got squeezed on that one. So CCJ, again, uranium, I am a little bit of this right now. I still think it has some potential to go up. Again, I don't think the challenges with Russia and energy are not going to go away, particularly in Europe. I think they're going to have to go back to looking at nuclear energy for the short term, and this again will be maybe a beneficiary of that. Again, FCX, still got a bit of this. It's Again, I think copper is another metal that's still in short supply, regardless of what's been going on. It's going to continue to be in short supply. Here's what I'm talking about with the gold stocks. You can see gold's really been selling off, but the last 2 days the miners have kind of held in there. So kind of interesting price action when you see gold going down and miners still gaining support, which leads me to believe maybe there'll be a bit of a turnaround in gold. Here's another one, another example, JD, another Chinese stock that just got squeezed to heck today. And yeah, that was just absolutely amazing. Never seen, I can't say that I've ever seen anything like it. This is the KWEB, the China Internet ETF. Again, massive squeeze today on this. And again, sort of up into an area where there'll probably be some resistance, this 32 sort of 50 level on the KWEB. Seed, again, this is an agriculture play. We've had this big move up and pullback, so I think this could be a interesting entry point for seed as long as it kind of can hold this 750 level. Again, the agriculture is going to be a challenge, particularly with Ukraine, Russia situation. A lot of agriculture products coming offline because of the war. Oil looks like it's had this big pullback as well. Again, right back into this area where I would expect some support here. So again, possible long here as long as it held this sort of 67.50. X iron, again, this is another stock that seems to be holding up as a materials, short of materials play. And it's a little bit toppy here, but it still looks fairly positive. I guess as long as it holds this 31 level, still looks pretty good. And energy, of course, I already talked about the USO. We have pulled back to an area where we broke out from. So this is obviously a breakout and retracement back to where we broke out. And then quite often we do get, after this check back, we can get a continuation move higher. So again, good place to try to take an entry and obviously stop around 70. And Yang, this was the anti-Chinese stock, and it just got taken to the woodshed today. You can see that, and certainly glad I wasn't in that one because massive gap down on the Chinese news, and then continued to sell off for the remainder of the day there as the Chinese stocks just continued to squeeze higher. So, and that's a wrap for Wednesday. The Wednesday video, let's take a look at where we are right now. We've got looking like a flat open at this point, but I think that we've sort of established a bottom in the markets with these last 2 days making a pretty significant comeback, and economy in the US still looking fairly good, still projecting some GDP growth for the next couple of years. So according to the Fed, no recession. And yeah, so we'll see how the rest of the week goes. I suspect that we're probably going to chop around, maybe with the lack of any kind of big news event. We'll just see. We've had already some big moves here, and probably just some digestion into Thursday and Friday. So that's it. I hope everyone had a good day today, and certainly it was a wild day in the markets, down and up and down and up and down. So we'll see how things pan out for the rest of the week. And if you want to join us live on YouTube at 8 in the morning, we'll start with a pre-market show, and then of course trading the market open at 9:30 with our members. And you certainly are welcome to join us. We'll see you then. Bye for now.